Hi, and welcome to Commentary Auto Components. Today I'm going to talk about something that's led to a lot of questions, and I've had many conversations over and advised people on. So today we're going to talk about disc brake conversions onto the front of XK120 and XK140, as these models came from the factory with drum brakes, and basically nowadays drum brakes are not too effective and most of the vehicles will outbrake you. So as a matter of safety, we're going to go through this discussion. Now, one of the first things you have to understand about a car is that the brakes are only as good as the suspension. So first of all, you need to check your whole front suspension, make sure all your bushes and fittings are up to spec, because if you have any sag in your suspension, your braking motion is going to pass through the suspension before it gets to the wheels in the way that you want, and you will lose braking motion. So please do check over your suspension first of all. As we've had our trusty disc brake display unit for probably 30 years, we've been carrying it around the country, we decided to show you today how to fit a disc brake conversion on the bench. So here we are, it's already stripped down, sitting there, an XK half shaft sitting in the upright. And as you can see, it is an original half shaft, we just use an old one here. And yours, of course, is most likely to be an old one. So first of all, the first thing you really need to do is inspect it and make sure that there is no detrimental wear to this front stub axle. The bearings, when they fit, should go on and be a grab fit. So they need to be relatively tight, but they don't need to be a press fit or a heat fit. Just tight enough to grab, because if they do not grab, the bearing is going to spin on the inner face against the half shaft rather than, as you can see, rotating on the bearing face. Don't worry if your half shaft, your stub axles are worn. We do keep them new. We manufacture these ourselves under our part number 4508. They're available off the shelf. Change them now. Anything you skimp of in this conversion, you don't want to come back and change it all again later. As an additional thing to this, they're never sold with the kits, but I would recommend that you change the inner and outer wheel bearings for the front wheels while you do this conversion. Again, these things can fail. Do them now and you won't have to come back and do this again. You'll be happy everything is brand new. And there are good brands out there. Unfortunately, the brands that were named in the parts book in the day are not now considered top products. These are top kind of products. If you've got any doubts, come and talk to us about it, because unfortunately a lot of names now are just sold on and they are box engineered parts. They are not made by the factories that you would like to believe still exist, because sadly a lot of them don't. To fit this disc brake conversion, we're basically replicating XK150 parts. So the front mount plate is going to look something like this. It is a reproduction of this Jaguar one, made to modern CNC standards. They are very accurate and we should bolt straight on. This plate will bolt on with this recessed face towards the hub, with the lugs facing backwards onto the upright as such, with alignment, and there you go, a nice tight fit. Your disc brake conversion is going to come with all the nuts and bolts you need, well our kits do, so we just simply check the alignment is on there for the plates. You get 4 bolts per side. The long bolts go to the top as per Jaguar manual, shorter bolts to the bottom, pass through, and they'll be secured with washers, because every nut needs a washer, and then they'll be secured with nuts. These nuts, I prefer cleave lock nuts. You'll see these very much like a nylock, but with a metal locking face. Sometimes they are screw cut and then cross cut to grasp in the same way, but I prefer these to nylock, because nylock can obviously loosen under heat, and this is an application that could get hot, so I would go with cleave lock. You'll be provided kits in your nuts in your kit. Just to show you on the vehicle, the lugs will face to the back, and the steering arm, which we normally not have on display unit, the steering arm will be facing forward. So steering arm forward, brake caliper sits to the rear. Okay, we didn't want to bore you with doing bolts up, so here we are, bolts secure. plates in situation, recess, forward for the hub, lugs to the back, steering arm shown there, cleeve lock nuts done up tight, they're not going to come undone. Simple, solid, as the XK150 was built. That's exactly what we've replicated here, using this plate. They're very good parts, very simple to fit. Bearings are in, hub's mounted, D-washer is fitted, castellated nut can be reused or fit a new one. Obviously, if you're fitting the wire wheel hub, then it will be inside the nose, so a deep socket. Should fasten as the parts book says, explains about bearing float, etc. Get that right, you won't have to do it again. And then it's simply pinned through. And obviously with this hub, you're going to have to go through the hole, but that's the fun of what we do. The caliper you'll be fitting is a standard really in the industry. It's a 4-pot, so there are 4 pistons here in one integral body, therefore just one outlet, one bleeder. The pads will mount in the quick fit fashion with probably with pins and K-locking springs. Very simple, floating in the caliper as you see. So basically we're just going to offer this up to the lug at the back. As you'll see, we'll align, and you'll come with the bolts to fit and washers. Washers are important so that they fit to the right depth and grab, and these will just offer up very easily, as you can see. Whoa, first time in, nice, in it goes. So simple assembly, bolts up. Now you're going to check for alignment here to make sure the disc is in the center. There are lots of manufacturer discs. Obviously you have to align the caliper so it's central. These are simply shimming washers that will go between the two, so you shim it to fit, so do get it dead central so there's no running out problems. You'll find in the kit that they do come with some short rigid pipes. Now these pipes may seem like nothing to you, but they are very important. They're a very important piece of standard motor car engineering, because what these do is take the hydraulic from the cylinder to a safe point in the center of the suspension. Many people have rang me complaining they've bought cars, they've looked at the brakes, they've got a massive hose going from the chassis into the caliper, and how dangerous it is, and how the wheel can so easily, and has been in many cases in cars people have bought with poorly designed kits, cutting through the hose. So what we do is we're going to use this pipe to route the hose to a safe place. One of the nice pieces of our kit is that it comes with a simple conversion bolt. This bolt bolts onto the standard XK120 or 40 hose. This means that in use, if you're off cruising the other side of the world, whatever, this is a standard XK part. If it blows, gets damaged, ruptures, etc, etc, you can get one of these basically through any Jaguar outlet. So this adapter bolts up, and then we supply a small bracket. The bracket, I think Jaguar listed is going on the top, maybe on the bottom. What you want to do is put it in the position where this hose is going to be nearest to the chassis mount. Okay, so that's just going to be how you want to position it. And that is really up to you. And what we do, we provide an extra nut, because Jaguar would have bolted this straight onto this face, which I've already pointed out you won't have good access to once the disc is on. Okay, so that will fasten on there. You can either use a small nut and a half nut, a lock nut, but you're going to have a very skilled fitting there because you're going to have 2 nuts on it. Because we use a secondary nut on this bracket, we've got full mobility here, ease to move it as need be. So the adapter simply bolts on with a lock nut. so it's in a safe position, and then we simply route this fitting, just gently bending as need be to bring it down and just ease it. Obviously measure twice, bend once, fitting this together so that we can get a good fit. And as you'll see with the original drum, when you took it off, once these are done up, you really do want to keep them as close into the wheel for protection from anything at all. And these can just simply be fitted up into place, and you can manipulate them as need be for the safest position, well out of the way for safety. And this keeps the whole hydraulics inboard, not anywhere near the wheel, which could abrade through it. This is an upgraded version of this hose. Obviously rubber inside, but this is stainless steel braided, and then it has also got a protective plastic sleeve over it. So if you want a more rigid hose, harder wearing, we sell these in sets of 3, so there's one to each side on the front and then one to the axle, and that is a car set for an XK120 and XK140. So upgraded parts are available if you want to make the best conversion at the time. So there you have it, that's the simple bolting up. Obviously, as I said, caliper to mount plate needs shimmed as possible so that this spins properly for very central alignment. All your hydraulics parts will come with copper washers, etc. for a hydraulic seal as well. You may notice a couple of those bits I didn't bother with, but this isn't going anywhere, so we're not going to have an accident with this. You need to fit it up, bleed it, and then I would take it and take a gentle road test. If you have to, take it to an MOT test station, get them looked over. And if you bought a car with a disc brake conversion, I would say please do check out whether certain parts have been omitted from the kit. We can supply the parts you need, the extra bits, not a problem, straight off the shelf. So please do take note of the things I've highlighted, because your suspension is a harmonic part in with the braking. You need good solid suspension to have good solid brakes, and you need good engineering so these things save your life, they don't risk it. So in closing, this is it all fitted up. You can find these calipers in different materials. There are aluminium versions, these are cast iron. Intrinsically no difference apart from a weight differential, pretty much like radiators. There's no advantage to the material apart from it is lighter. They will all have the same size pistons inside. You'll be buying like for like. This is basically a time-proven 1970s Dunlop Girling, used on Volvo actually quite a lot. Piston, very well proven. We've been selling them for 30 years. Very nice product, easy to fit, and it's as good as you're going to get on your car. It will balance up nicely with the master cylinder and the drum brake. You won't need the servo. I've done articles on that if anyone's interested, on the Jag lovers. So very nice, and we'll add at the end of this a couple of still pictures of these fitted to a car last week. Very simple to do. If you have any other questions, please do give us a call. We're happy to talk you through it. But this is pretty much it. Visually, you've got it all here. I've written very full instructions that we publish on our website. So it should take you through everything you need to know. And good luck, safe driving. I hope this helps.